reader.wordpress.com.
I'm Dawn, and I blog at bangBangBookblog.com.
And today we are bringing you what we have read so far from 2017 releases. We're going to discuss the books from our so far least favorite to our most loved. Right?
Okay, well, the 7.
Yeah, 7 books, because that's all I've read, so...
I've read more.
Dawn has read more, so we had to lower it down to 7.
Who's first?
Go ahead.
Okay, so, because I read more, I'll list the ones that I actually read, and half of these I read in 2016, so it's not like I'm awesome or anything, but they were, really quickly, Carve the Mark, Dreamland, Poison Kiss, Caraval, Gilded Cage, Alchemist of Loom, Winter Song, X-Files, Agents of Chaos, Last of August, Careful Undressing of Love, Strange the Dreamer, Hunted, Daughter of the Pirate King, Valiant, and Hate You Give. So, the top 7, I will start with the X-Files, Agent of Chaos. I'm about to say Cajun. And this is by Cami Garcia. It is, so far it's only 2 books. This one is by Cami Garcia and is from the perspective of Mulder when he was 17. The other one is written by Mawberry, who is writing from the perspective of Dana at 17. And if you are an X-Files fan, they haven't met yet, so we're getting their backstory as teens. I am a big X-Files fan. I binged it last year. That's when I started watching them. Very good. I enjoyed them a lot, so I was excited about this series. And it's clear that Cami Garcia is an X-Files fan. She really kind of understood Mulder quite well. The writing wasn't like earth-shattering or anything, but it was a solid mystery. The characters were pretty good. So, yeah, it wasn't terrible.
My 7th book, I have nothing to add. I have never seen the X-Files, didn't read the book, obviously. So again, this is, because I only have read 7 thus far this year, this is kind of like, liked it least, and then progressively will be what I liked the most. So the 7th book is called Blood Rose Rebellion by Rosalind Eves. This book, if you've been on its Goodread page lately, you'll kind of get a sense of what I'm talking about. This book promises a lot but fails to deliver pretty much anything. It's bad.
Yikes.
This book is really bad. Unfortunately, the author, the reason that I chose to read this book is because the author kind of chooses to write around a time period and a location that I really knew nothing about. So she chose to write about the Hungarian Revolution. The year I cannot remember, but it's like late 1800s. It intrigued me. I wanted to learn more about that, and she kind of ties in like this magical society that controls power, and of course, because this is a fantasy, she essentially ties the two together in that one caused the other. But the book ended up just being a heroine that was annoying, did not really get a sense of what she needed to do. So you're just as confused as the main character, and the author does nothing to give the reader more information about what her missions should be. And it was just very convoluted and confusing. So I gave it a low score.
What'd you give it?
2.5. Actually, 1.5. 1.5. That was a 1.5 star book.
You don't give many of those.
I do not.
All right.
I was pissed.
Clearly.
When a book makes me angry, you get a low rating.
You get a low. Okay. Number 6 for me is The Last of August by Brittany Cavallaro. It is book 2 in the Charlotte Holmes series. This is last year her book was a debut, so this is her 2nd book, and I have to say, for someone who hasn't been writing very long, she's a wonderful writer. In this book, it takes place immediately after book 1, and something bad has happened to Charlotte, and they have this love-hate relationship. If you're familiar with Sherlock Holmes and Watson, they kind of joke that they're kind of they love each other like sexually, and so she plays on that too, but in this instance it's a boy and a girl. So I think she does the relationship part well. The only problem I had with the book is that it focused a lot on the art world, And I don't think a lot of teens are interested in art or forgery, because I surely wasn't. And I'm a grown woman. And I'm like, I don't know any teen that is really going to get into the art world. So that's the only bummer. If that hadn't have been in there, it would have been fantastic. I wish her editor had been like, change this to something else.
Indeed. Book 6 for me was Roseblood by A.G. Howard. This is a new series that she started. She's the author of...
You have a thing with rose and blood.
God, seriously. Oh, that's right. I didn't even catch that. This is Roseblood, not to be confused with Blood Rose Rebellion. Anyway, this is by A.G. Howard. She wrote the Splintered series, which is like the Alice in Wonderland retelling, and she does it again with this, except it's Phantom of the Opera. Something that I am very familiar with and have loved for a long time, so I was expecting to really love this. I didn't. Kind of same vein of complaints that I had for the previous book. Main character who's really boring, but everyone in the book seems to like bang the reader over their head with the fact that she's so special and this magical power that she has is the key to righting all the wrongs in the universe, and I'm getting really sick of that premise. And, you know, there was some weird, like, slut-shaming that was happening in this book, and it was just strange. It was just a very strange book. Didn't like it. Was very disappointed. So, yeah.
All right. I didn't read that one either. Number 5 for me is Daughter of the Pirate King. I think that has come out already, or it just came out. I don't know. And
it comes out next week.
Next week?
Yeah.
The author is Trisha Levenseller. She is a debut, and this is obviously a pirate book. But in this story, our main character, Alosa, I believe her name is, she gets herself abducted on this rival ship so that she can steal this map. And Alosa is a great character. She kind of has a hidden power. So like your girl, she kind of has hidden magic that she could do, but she was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
She was smarter than everybody else. She was actually the captain of her own ship of women. She used her body, which that could go either way, but she used it to her own advantage, and she was in control of it, so that was a little forgivable. And there was a love interest that I thought was done quite well. So I have not read a lot of good pirate books, so I wasn't expecting much from this, but I was really satisfied with it.
That book's been on my TBR, and for some reason I just haven't gotten to it, which is kind of disappointing because I love pirate books, but I read a couple last year that were not good, and I think I'm scarred.
Too. So that's why I was like, this is gonna suck, but it was pretty good. So
awesome. Yeah. Book number 5 is Caraval. We podcasted about this already, didn't we? Mm-hmm. So if you want to know my opinions about that, you can feel free to go back. But wasn't crazy about it. Bad characterization. Great world building. Could have been better. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Keep it brief.
My number 4 is The Hate You Give. Sorry. By Angie Thomas. This comes out next week. And it is a contemporary about a girl who witnesses her best friend shooting by a police officer. He was shot in the back. And so it is her... She was raised, or she lives in a poor neighborhood. It's gangs and drugs, but she goes to a private school with predominantly white kids. And so she's kind of caught in between these two worlds. And she doesn't know if she should come forward and let everyone know that she witnessed it, because if she does, she could be possibly labeled a snitch. And then she's outed at her school because they kind of know she doesn't live in the great neighborhood, but they don't know it's this bad. Mm-hmm. So she also doesn't want to be pitied or, already have more focus on her. So she's kind of in this conundrum. I thought the writing was really well. She rationalizes her behavior quite well. That her family was great. Her friends, the characterization of her friends were a little underdeveloped, but her family was developed well. So yeah, it was pretty good.
Also on my TBR. I think it's out already, right? Wasn't it published last week? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember. Book 4 for me is Winter Song by S.J. Jones. I think I gave this book a 3. No, I didn't rate this book because I DNF'd it. Also, a mediocre debut. Yeah, like I said, this is all I've read so far, so this is all I have to choose from. I was not familiar with the source material. I don't really think you need to be. It's supposedly like a reimagining of the movie Labyrinth with David Bowie. Um, but that didn't like distract from the plot at all. I just found the pacing of this book to be what bothered me the most. I loved the beginning. I thought it set the tone really well for this kind of creepy, dark romance mystery, if you will. And then suddenly she has to save her sister. Essentially, I won't give too much away, but she has to save her sister, and she does that in the middle of the novel. And then suddenly, this person, the Goblin King, who she's saving her sister from, is like, I forgot to tell you this one more rule. It's like, I hate that when the book resolves its main conflict in the middle of the book, and then they introduce a new conflict. That bugs the crap out of me. And that's what happened in Winter Song. So, I don't know, some readers may not have a problem with it. It's been getting really good reviews, decently on Goodreads, but it didn't sit well with me. So, I just kind of ended up losing interest. So, yeah.
Yeah. I too read that, and it is not going to be in my top 7. It'll probably be, well, it will be in my bottom 7. But we did podcast about that one, so if you want to hear our
specific thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 3 is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. My top 3, it was really tough for me to rank because they were all pretty well, and I think I gave them all at, like, almost a 5, really close to a 5, but not quite. And this one is also very close to a 5. If you are looking for a fun, fluffy, light fantasy, run away quickly, because this book was incredibly dense. It took me forever to get through it. It is so much going on, but it's a good thing. It's great writing. It's a new world. It's a great world. But take your time because there's a lot going on in this book, but a lot of good stuff. So if you're a fan of her other series, you already kind of know that she will throw like weird crap in the middle and you're like, what is this all about? But she does that a lot, and which is great because it's unpredictable. You don't know what's ever going to happen. So that doesn't come out until March. So if you can get your hands on it, the Ark, go for it. I think it's on NetGalley.
Yeah. My book number 3, this is where things start to get positive for me. I ended up rating this book 4 stars. I can never remember how to pronounce this. Maresi, by Maria Tertshaninoff. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Oh my god.
It's the book that was originally published in, I think, Danish. Don't quote me on that. But she's not an English-speaking author, so this is a translation of a book that was previously published in another country and is just being debuted to English-speaking audiences. I really liked this. I would recommend this for fans of Marcus Sedgwick's books, in that it just drops you into this really bizarre, ambiguous world. You don't know what time period it is, if it's our world or a different one. But it's about these girls who live in an all-female society. So kind of like a convent. All of their gods are female, and they just have these very weird rituals, and you're not really sure why. But then when they're attacked one day, like, everything kind of comes together. It was really cool. It was a really weird book, which I like weird, and it was well done. It was good weird. So yeah, if you're someone who likes Marcus Sedgwick, specifically Midwinter Blood, definitely check out Maresi.
Okay. My number 2 is Alchemists of Loom by Elise Kova, and I don't know why I read this book. I personally think the cover is ugly, but and it's steampunk, and that's not something that I would normally read. I think I picked it up because it had a very high rating on Goodreads, and as you know, I am a slave to the Goodreads.
You're a rating whore.
I am a rating whore. So I was like, oh, let's take a look at this book, and it is great. A lot of people do not know about this book because, of course, it didn't get hype.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it came out in January, and it is, like I said, it is steampunk, but it's not heavy on the steampunk, and it's an alternate universe, so you don't know what time year or what time period it is, and it's about dragons who live above the clouds, and they basically have decided to be the rulers of the minions below them. And the people below them are, of course, pissed at this, and so when the dragons come down, they try and kill them. And the dragons, of course, have magic, so they kill the dragons. They take their organs, and if you eat their organs, then you possess the power that they had. So if you eat their brain, you're probably very smart, or their body organs have different magical powers, and then you become a chimera. So that's what our main character is. She's a chimera and she's a thief, and she is for hire to kill these dragons and sell their body parts. And one day a dragon comes down and he's like, "Don't kill me, I want to help you." And so then she's like, she has to go on faith that he is actually here to help her. And it is great. I was kind of lost in the beginning, and if you do decide to read the book, the first chapter, the author drops you in the middle of this world, and you're like, I don't know what the hell is happening here. But I kept going, and if you can just get through that first chapter, it is amazing. I almost gave it a 5. Like, very close. It was one thing that bothered me, but I would highly recommend this book. It's great. I would try to get you to read it, but I don't think you would.
I mean, it sounds like a really unique premise, but it does, the whole dragon thing reminds me of, like, Seraphina, which I'm just so not about.
No. These dragons are not like
that book was the most boring book I have ever attempted to read in my life.
I like that book.
You and I have very different taste in books.
Every once in a while, I'll get you to read a book, and you're like, woohoo, but... Yeah.
Definitely. Right. I think this next book, this is my number 2. Gilded Cage was something you had read first and asked me to read, and I definitely ended up loving it. It's awesome. We already podcasted.
Yeah, this is my number 1.
Yeah, okay. So this is my number 2. We already podcasted about this. It's by Vic James. Awesome. Really cool, like, political fantasy, magical realism, alternate, lots of things. Lots of genres blended into this book. So good. Read it.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah, that's my number 1, and I will just go on with what you said. That. It's great. Awesome. It is number 1. Like I said, it was tough for me to pick between Alchemist of Loom and Gilded Cage, but I think I picked Gilded Cage because my only problem was that there was no family tree. Otherwise, there was nothing wrong with the storyline at all. So, yeah. Yeah,
my 1 and 2, my number 1 is The Crown of Wishes by Roshni Chokshi. These books were pretty much tied in terms of how much I loved them. Crown of Wishes is very different. It's more of like a mythological fantasy, very heavy in Indian mythology. So if that's your thing, definitely go read Crown of Wishes. It's not a sequel to the Star-Touched Queen. There are some similar characters, but you do not need to read the first book to read the second one and understand what's going on. It's a completely different character, completely different plot, setting, everything. I liked this one actually like a lot better than I liked Star-Touched Queen, and I pretty much was like in love with Star-Touched Queen.
Yeah, you were.
So this book is that, but like a million times more amazing. I can't even talk about it enough. Haven't written a review about it yet, so I'll just keep it simple and keep it short there. So yeah, those are our kind of top 7. Yeah,
I kind of want to give my worst 3 of the year so far.
Do it.
Just because I have to. I feel like I must.
Mm-hmm.
The third worst is The Careful Undressing of Love by Corianne Haydu. I know she's written other things. And I feel
she has. Wasn't one of it up for like an award?
I feel like she won the Prince or something.
The OCD
at one point.
something.
I don't know. Now she's gonna look it up. Yeah, this book was not great. Caraval was bad. I think I gave it a 1.5.
I think I gave Caraval 2 stars.
Yeah, yours is higher than mine. Actually, Caraval is the worst I've read this year. The one before that is Valiant by Leslie Livingston. I don't think it's out yet. It is about female gladiators from Caesar time period, and great premise. That cover is amazing, but it was weirdly paced. Like the first 50 pages, she's like, I'm gonna be in the army. No, I'm not. I'm patrolled to somebody. No, that's a spoiler. But she's like, no, I gotta get married. No, I'm gonna run away. No, I'm captured by slaves. No, I'm on the slave block. It's like, what?
Oh my God.
50 pages, and then after that, it's like this long bit where she is a gladiator, and it is like super boring and horrible. So.
The Careful Undressing of Love has a great cover. I love that.
It's
like a
great
lemon
cover,
tree or something.
It's terrible.
Corianne Haydu also wrote The OCD Love Story and Life by Committee. I've heard her name a lot.
I've heard her name. I've never read any of her stuff.
No, me neither, because she pretty much writes what I don't like reading about.
Aw.
No fault of her own. It's just not
kind
for me.
Of is her fault that she writes.
Well, I'm not her audience.
True. All right, so our next podcast, we will be reviewing Goodbye Days by the Zents.
That's how we call him in our office.
The Zents.
The Zents.
And thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.